Was Alan Turing murdered? Alan Turing, OBE, died, it is thought, on the 7th of June 1954. The official reason was suicide by eating an apple poisoned with cyanide. I won't elaborate on his life except to point out that his wartime work is the subject of the film The Imitation Game. He received an OBE for his war work in 1946, was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society in 1951, was convicted for gross indecency in 1952 and pardoned by Queen Elizabeth II in 2013. Please understand that his friends say Alan was warm, charming and funny, not at all like his portrayal by Benedict Cumberbatch. The portrayed Alan we can believe capable of suicide. The actual Alan we cannot. In the film, Alan tells Detective Robert Nock his wartime experiences. He would never have broken the Official Secrets Act in this way. The penalties for this far outweigh those for gross indecency. Don't believe everything you see in the film. However, had he confessed to Robert Nock his wartime experiences, his silence would have been important. Why was it necessary to keep the cracking of Enigma a secret after the war? Many people, including the East German security services, still believed that Enigma was unbreakable and were continuing to use it. How Enigma was broken also gave cryptologists a lot of information about the weaknesses of using cyber machines that the Allies would prefer to keep to themselves. There is a host of evidence that Alan's death certificate was not correct. The apple, which was half-eaten, was never tested for cyanide. That his means of causing his own death were never tested makes it look like someone told the police not to. He often ate an apple before going to bed. Secondly, there is no suicide note. Suicide notes are written to help friends and relatives come to terms with a death. Alan had many friends, a keen sense of humour, and a mother who could not accept the verdict of suicide. Thirdly, he wrote a list of jobs to be done when his office reopened. People contemplating suicide do not do this. They are so wrapped up in their suicidal thoughts that they don't write a list for the future. He was found dead on the Tuesday and assumed to have died on the Monday. As it happens, the Sunday was the 10th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, an event that he helped to ensure was successful. He, like many others, would have been celebrating this day. He was very unlikely to have been suicidal. Many people, including his mother, as I've said, were convinced he did not commit suicide. Alan had been messing with potassium cyanide. It's a poison. He was using it, I understand, to gold-plate some spoons. The experiment was taking place in his spare bedroom and not in his normal bedroom. When his housekeeper arrived on the Tuesday, she said there was a smell of chemicals around the house. These chemicals would have been strongest in the spare bedroom, then in the hall, and lastly in the other rooms. He was found in his bedroom. But why was there a smell at all? The previous 3 days had been amongst the hottest of the year. All over the country, windows would be open. Why, with a strong smell of chemicals, did he have his windows closed? His experiment was not affected by the potassium cyanide in the air, only that in the plating vessel. He would know that. He would have had his windows open. Early symptoms of cyanide poisoning include lightheadedness, giddiness, rapid breathing, nausea, vomiting, feeling of neck constriction or suffocation, confusion, restlessness and anxiety. Surely, with these symptoms, particularly restlessness, you wouldn't lie down and go to bed. You'd go outside into the fresh air. I do not believe he committed suicide. I do not believe he died accidentally from inhaling potassium cyanide. I believe he was murdered. Maybe by someone entering his house, smothering him with a cyanide-laced cloth and closing the windows to make it look like an accident. Their motive was to stop him talking about his wartime work while unbalanced under his chemical castration, that is, estrogen regime. The Queen pardoned him from gross indecency. Why only him? Why not the other 49,000 people convicted of this crime? That society did Alan Turing a great disservice is undoubtedly true, and with the film The Imitation Game over-egging his autism, it still is. He was a brilliant mathematician, an excellent team player, and introduced many innovations to Bletchley Park. Eisenhower said he thought the work at Bletchley Park saved 2 years of war and 14 million lives. But another 2 years of war without reading the German and Japanese signals when the Germans were reading ours, who knows? We might have lost. Thank you, Alan.